Hello, welcome back to slightly different videos. You can probably tell by the title, the thumbnail, the whole lot. Today's video is a sort of review on the Marvel Legends Kid Omega figure. I suppose it's kind of new. It's a very nice body mold to use, but this is basically me just figuring out whether I can use it for customs or not. Because by the looks of it, this figure's going to be going on clearance fairly soon. There's a few shops that have it on clearance already. Unfortunately, this one was just on Amazon. And wasn't fully discounted, but it was a good enough price that I got it. So the whole point of this video is just to go over whether it's useful for customs, but I will give it a rundown on whether the figure itself is useful for the character. The first thing I don't like about the character itself is, or like the design of the figure for the character, is the head sculpt. It's got a very weird face structure to it, like this bulging bit around the lips, and the very over-defined cheekbones, the massive chin. It's quite strange, like such a small, sharp nose. It doesn't match the box art, like the actual comic book art that's on the box. It doesn't look like him. Well, I mean, it obviously looks like him because you've got the characteristics of these weird transparent glasses, which we'll get to in a minute because I don't like them, and the pink hair. But the facial structure doesn't match at all. It's very strange. In fact, I'll put that on screen now. So yeah, it's a little bit odd. The next issue I have is this. What? They could have easily made this middle bit connect to the bottom part that's actually glued into the socket in his face, and then it would have made these glasses more secure. But this, I don't understand what this is. It's a very strange choice to have this bit loose up here. I don't know if it's meant to look like it's connected, or whether it's meant to be completely loose, but yeah. I don't get their choice with the plastical design for this bit. The head sculpt itself, the paintwork, the minimal paintwork that's on the eyes, is done well. It keeps well to the actual sculpt, but it's not the most accurate to the box art. The next issue you'll find with the box art is that you get a set of interchangeable hands, and they're not the hands advertised on the box art either, which I'll show now. Instead, you get these, which are great for the fact that I'm using this for a custom and these hands are absolutely perfect, because these are the nice ones that have the inverted hinge. They're the web holding hands that you get with the Amazing Fantasy figure, essentially. They're painted nicely, but they're obviously not the ones that are advertised. And when you're giving a character a gun that doesn't have a round handle, it needs to have the trigger finger. This hand here, I'll show you how much of a struggle it is to actually get this to fit in the hand. That gap is not big enough to fit such a huge handle. I don't know whether they ran out of the correct mold or what, but that's it in. You can see how crooked the handle is. So when he's holding the gun, it's going to be off at a kilter. Very bizarre choice. And obviously his finger then can't fit into this hole here. If they'd given two trigger fingers, it would have been fine, but they've given two hands that can't hold the gun well. Even if they'd given just this one as a trigger finger, then at least the other hand would have been able to hold the bottom correctly. But then they were planning on giving a relaxed hand, which also would have held the bottom just fine. I'm very confused by the choice. But this is the gun that they give you. It's a nice sculpt, it's a nice design. It does kind of it's just been 3D printed in a weird clear resin. But if that's the look they're going for, I suppose that's fine. Yeah, very odd choice to use these hands, even though it's advertised as two completely different hands. But again, it works fine for me. The other thing that you get with this figure is obviously the Build-A-Figure part, which actually makes up the majority of the package. I will be just chucking this on eBay, getting rid of it. I have no use for this at all. I will most likely be selling the Build-A-Figure lump with his head and with his gun. So all of this will be going because I have no use for any of these parts. Which is a shame, but it also means I get the actual figure for cheaper because I don't need any of the extras. So in regards to articulation, actually I put his head back on for the articulation. You've obviously got the ball joint and the disc hinge. So you get a really good range up. Like he's going to look up pretty far. He's also going to look down pretty far. You've then got, you have to force the shoulder joint under because there's this weird lip on the edge which catches on this lip here. But if you force it under a little bit, you've got just over 90. You've also got the, it's quite a stiff butterfly joint, like it's loose, but trying to get it back is quite difficult. It doesn't go back as far as it could. Like you can see here, there's all this rest of the butterfly joint, and I've heard that it's the actual peg from the shoulder part that collides with the chest at the front. So I'll see if I can fix that at any point. You then get your diaphragm cut. I should probably do the whole arm first actually. You've got your bicep swivel, pinless elbows, a double elbow joint, and obviously you've got the vertical wrist hinge, which is horizontal on the other hands. Diaphragm cut that I mentioned, full range of movement. It's not the best, but it's fairly good. You then get some really good crunch from there. Really good going back as well. You've then got this really high cut for the hips, so you can get the leg up really far. In fact, it goes up a little bit further. There you go. Which works very well for a Spider-Man base body. Thigh swivel, double knee, boot, calf swivel, whatever you want to call this. Very, very stiff ankle joint. You can see pulling on this, it starts to pull the calf away. I don't know what's going on here. I didn't have this issue with the Amazing Fantasy figure, which is interesting because they're the same body mold. So I'd recommend heating this up if you do get it. But then you've also got your ankle pivot, which is also quite stiff for some reason. So with such a good body mold, it's going to be all black, except for, unfortunately, obviously this hinge up here is going to remain like the peachy tone, because that's just the cast plastic. However, the rest of this, I'm fairly sure with a bit of acetone, you can just completely remove all of this paint, all of the pink, all the skin tone from the hands, because they're cast in plastic, in black plastic. You should be able to remove all of it and just end up with a base black body. And if you really wanted to, what I'll probably do is just run over this with permanent marker, a black marker, just for the sake of consistency. But you could also chuck this in some dye. If you do it, use Ritz synthetic dye. Any other dye won't take to it very well, so it needs to be synthetic dye. But yeah, overall this will work absolutely fantastic for a custom. I'm not going to tell you what custom it is at the moment, for two reasons. Number one, I want a little bit of a surprise when I do make the custom, and number two, I don't actually know what custom I'm making just yet. But yeah, comparison wise, you can see it's literally the exact same body mold. In fact, if I take the head off, it is exactly the same, even down to the hands. And even, obviously, the other pair of hands are the same as one of the pairs you get with this figure as well. So they basically just reused the Amazing Fantasy figure, which I don't mind at all. If this is going on clearance, I'll be very happy to pick up more of these, because this is an incredible body mold and a base for customs. Honestly, if they did a red version of this, this would have been perfect for the Scarlet Spider as well. I think it's a little bit shorter than most 6-inch figures. I don't have anything with me for scale, because I'm currently on holiday, hence the whole weird backdrop situation, and just the crappy bits of card. But yeah, this should be a fairly good figure for the customs. You're going to get some good poses out of it. You're obviously going to be able to get Spider-Man poses out of this. I know someone who's doing a Miles Morales custom with this body mold, and I've debated doing an Amazing Fantasy style symbiote suit, because obviously you've got all black, and then it would just be a case of painting on a bit of the white. But we'll see where this goes. I also need to upgrade my Crafty Gecko figure at some point, so this might be a good candidate for that body. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for watching me behead Kid Omega. If you've enjoyed it, do stick around. I do have better videos coming. In fact, I have a video where I'm going to be working on fixing this guy's toe joint soon. And I'm going to be doing it without 3D printing or messing about 3D files. I'll be doing a full restoration of this guy at some point, or a full upgrade as well. So do stick around for that. That should be the next video. But yeah, that's all I've got for now. And hopefully I'll see you next week when things are a little bit calmer. I've moved into the new house. I'm not on holiday anymore.